for
So
how long?
Kyle, you're whatever Earth God for right now. You get to choose the next Democrat, like who should be running instead of Biden. Who do you pick?
Okay.
I don't know if
So
I asked the question well, but I hope you
no,
got it.
you did.
Yeah,
Like
I know what you're saying.
if I and I want the Democratic Party to win, if I want the
Yes.
DNC to win.
Yeah, you're trying to help them.
Okay. So first of all, I heard I'm gonna steal this from Megyn Kelly. I have Barack, Michelle, Hillary, and Bill go to the White House and meet
Mm.
Joe. And they say, Joe, it's noon. Good morning. And in 1 hour, there's a press conference out there in the Rose Garden. The press is assembled. Either you're going out there,
Who let this black guy in the White House?
boy.
Now
Now you fetch my slippers, boy. Mammy, I'd like some scrambly eggs. Now, Mr. President, how can I help you, sir? It's a bill.
It's a bill.
Yeah. Like that would be hilarious. That's an SNL bit they'll never make. But anyway, they come in and he's lucid because it's noon and they inject him or whatever it takes. And they would say, hey, there's a press conference in an hour. Either you're going out there or we are. They're assembled. You can either tell, let us fucking go out on your shield here, like for the good of the party. Like, here's your speech. We had it written by our guy who knows how to write speeches. And that would work. He'd have to give up because if you had those four go out there and have a press conference and say it's in the national interest that the 25th Amendment is employed here because our friend, our colleague, our family, our brother, like kiss his ass as much as you can, but say he can't hack it anymore and kick him out of the job. But once you do that, I said this yesterday because it just kind of popped into my head, but it's Al Gore. I know. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Al Gore is from the time of stability and prosperity. And he was there when the coin flipped heads, when it could have flipped tails, when there was like 500 votes in one county in Florida. And he could have been George Bush on 9/11 and saved trillions of dollars and not invaded multiple countries. There's alternate universes where Al Gore was the president for those 8 years. And I think it's a better fucking place. But I kind of still see that in him. And not only do I see all that, I see that he kind of grew a sense of humor in the last 25 years.
He's 76 now. For all I know, he's
spring chicken. Yeah.
Is he still jetting around saving the world? To me, I kind of want a name I know, but I want somebody that feels safe. I don't think that Gavin Newsom guy can win, a national race. I think it has to be Kamala. If I'm trying to win and I'm not allowed to make some sort of wacky, like Michelle Obama and Al Gore type mix, like that's what I'd want probably, by the way, is like Michelle Obama and Al Gore, something like some kind of mix of them would be, I think, the strongest wacky pick. But she's already said she doesn't want it. And but
I'm sorry, I'll keep going.
But Kamala, it has to be Kamala because I heard some political legal jargon about how if Joe were to step down and allow Kamala to be president and then she's the incumbent, it checks off more of these boxes that these 13 keys to the White House or something like that you need X amount of, making her the Kamala.
Comma, like the punctuation, Kamala.
I'm okay with being disrespectful to Kamala.
Okay.
That's how it rolls off my tongue.
I was trying to correct you privately, so nobody knew.
I don't care. I don't care.
Well, okay.
Kamala? Is it Kamala?
Kamala.
It's what you just said. It's what you said, Kyle. I think you got it right.
Kamala. If she were the incumbent, it seems like she has a pretty good shot as well because they explained how something about his campaign funds could directly be transferred to her if she became the incumbent. And I didn't really pay too much attention.
She's so unpopular. Like she's got less of a chance than fucking a dead Joe Biden.
I think the DEI criticism of her will hit hard, right? I remember when before he picked her, he's like, I'm going to limit my choices for VP to just women. And I'm like, that feels yucky to me, right? He didn't say he's going to pick the best person who could be president in case something happens to him. He said he's going to pick the best woman. And then he chose Kamala. And I don't hate Kamala like everybody else does, but I do acknowledge everybody else does. Therefore, there's something going on that matters.
Yeah.
And I like Newsom. The reason I like Newsom is I thought he absolutely butt fucked DeSantis in their debate. And DeSantis, I think, is better than Trump at it. Like, if Newsom were to go up there, he would make Trump look bad in the next debate, and everyone would be like, we got our guy. I think that's how it would play out. But for reasons I don't fully understand, only Kamala is able to inherit Biden's like fundraising, ground game, and all that stuff.
Maybe that's true, but Kamala just has too much of that like Hillary Clinton energy of like, she's so apparent in her insincerity and the way she's just fake from top to bottom.
So she says a thing. You guys have probably seen the viral video where she's like, we need to overlook what has been and look at what can be. I messed that up, but I'm close. Like that, yeah. And I mentioned that to my wife. I even showed her the video, and she's like, well, Trump says build the wall again and again. Trump says lock her up again and again. Why does Trump get to repeat the same lines? But for her, it's insincerity. And I'm like, actually, I don't have an answer, but it is viewed differently. People see it through a different lens.
Well, it's because one of them is, albeit ham-handed in its delivery, a policy prescription. Build the wall. Like, he's saying something he wants to do, or he pretends to want.
The man sells slogans.
Fight for. He sells like what Kamala is doing is acting as though she has come up with the phrase organically at the end of a statement, and then adding it in as like a little addendum. And it's like someone told her to say that, or like beforehand they were like, hey, this little line, this tested big.
Well, she came up with it. Who knows? She's not dumb.
Are you riding with Biden though?
Me?
No, I don't think so.
I only say that because they had like they kept, reporters have been hounding Democrat officials this week, literally like chasing them down hallways and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they were after this guy, and they were like, does the entire committee agree? I'm riding with Biden. Does every single member unanimously agree? I'm riding with Biden. 10 times as he walks away from, I'm riding with Biden.
Not a good answer.
It is a good answer. I mean, like he said where he answered the question. I like that a lot more than dodging. Well, he kind of dodged.
Well, didn't really answer it. If they're like, so everyone's on your side? I'm riding with Biden. Okay,
okay.
You said it, but everyone is? I'm riding with Biden. Oh, okay. So if it was yes, you would have said yes. Thanks.
Pelosi said something interesting. They're like, hey, do you think Biden should step down? And she's like, the NATO summit is this week. I think we should put this aside this week. And it's like, that wasn't yes. That was a million miles from yes. Pelosi's like, let's break the knives out on Monday.
Pelosi's like, well, I'm even older than him somehow.
She already stepped down.
So. Yeah, she did. Dianne Feinstein, did she die?
That was her way of stepping down. Yes,
that was how she stepped down. That's how a lot of these people step down. Yeah, they just age out of life.
They wheeled her corpse into the Senate until her dying days.
That's like during during Trump's first presidency. It was at the end of Obama's. A lot of Democrats were like, "Please, Ruth, please step down," and she's like, "What?" And then she just like dies 2 years into his presidency of being an ancient old woman. Yeah, that's a lot of these people, it turns out, once they have power, they really, really don't want to let go of it. Makes sense. It's probably
that
fun.
Was an error. That was an error. And now the country will reap the benefits of that error for years and decades to come.
Yeah. Yep. I wonder how different it would be if they had a 5-4 majority instead.
I wonder how much different it's going to be if Trump gets to somehow install another justice.
I don't know if anybody's old enough, are they?
The oldest ones are Alito and Clarence Thomas are the two oldest Supreme Court justices.
Yeah, but what happens to one of those younger guys?
maybe. You don't know.
Trump's America. You never know.
But most likely, Trump just sort of resets the count on what we already have because it's the conservatives.
Do you think in a Trump landslide scenario, he also carries the House and the Senate?
Yes and yes. Yeah, the Senate, I think they're saying they get anyway, even if Biden wins.
Do you know how, look, I enjoy the guy's jokes and his hotel properties are fantastic. But do you know how worrisome it is if Donald Trump is the president and he has the Supreme Court and all of Congress?
It's actually a really bad thing.
You know what he's going to do?
He will have a Secretary of Revenge going after people.
I'm not as optimistic about that. I think it would be like good for him to like give a little bit of what he's been getting for a few years. That'd be entertaining. But what he's going to actually do if he gets elected, I think, and maybe I'm cynical, is he's going to try and like do some bullshit olive branch thing, and then he's just going to support Israel harder than anyone we've ever seen. And
that's part of his he's pledged Kemp to support Israel harder than anyone we've ever seen, which is what he did his first 4 years. So
it's true. Well, it seems to be a trend.
but Taylor, if you were trying to help the Democrats win, who would you put in Biden's place?
Gavin Newsom. He's like a conventionally attractive guy. He's clearly smart. He's with it. He's young. He knows how to speak, which is important. He can be charismatic. I think that he would beat Trump on the stage. Like, if he went down and like started getting in like a battle, it wouldn't do, because he would want to avoid Trump's domain, which is like the throwing shit back and forth and like having a reality show style argument up there, because Trump's going to win that against any of these politicians. But if he kind of had like a high-handed, like, I'm not engaging with this sort of thing, that's not what we're here to do, like that sort of response to it, I think he'd win. And so I'm sticking with my prediction that if the Democrats really wanted to win, they'd get Gavin Newsom. Like most of the people who are voting for Biden are similar to the people voting for Trump. They don't actually like the guy a ton. Like, and so if there was an alternative who was palatable, the Democrats wouldn't lose anyone by switching from Biden to Newsom. Like, no, I don't know if there's a Democrat in Ohio that's like, I was all in on Biden, but now, I don't know. Like, it just seems like a common sense move.
Yeah, I don't like all the sex stuff with Trump, and the potential that there are those underage girls at all. Can we separate the crime from the artist, though, the way we do with Kevin Spacey and so many other beloved Michael Jackson? Can we just look at like everything else and pretend like that didn't happen, and then I can still really like Trump? It's annoying.
You know what?
I don't like that.
Yeah,
it's funny you said that, because I haven't been able to articulate this thought I've had, that a lot of people who are pro-Trump aren't really pro that man. They're just absolutely fed up with the most unlikable parts of the blue team, right? Yes. The most unlikable parts of the blue team, like affirmative action, right? You know, like, oh, we need to pass over these guys and then pick these guys instead based on their skin color.
Yeah.
But we're virtuous when we do it. We're not like, we don't do it the way you do. Or I don't know, some
like
of the
trans kids
stuff.
Thing. I'm like, am I going to vote for the party that wants to trans kids, or am I going to vote for the party that doesn't like that? Oh, that's pretty obvious. That's pretty clear.
I hear you. I don't even think it's real, but the critical race theory thing that they were saying was in the Virginia schools that helped him win the governorship. Whatever that is, that like the blue team is not messaging that right, and in some cases not doing it right. And if they could just remove the most unlikable parts of themselves, they do way better in elections.
That's true.
Yeah. My prediction is Trump is going to win enough of the black vote, the Hispanic vote, that he's going to, and the Muslim vote up, specifically up in the Rust Belt, that he's going to wipe the floor with Biden. I think that
he's not going to win the Muslim vote, and that's
he's as pro-Israel as
I don't think he has to win it. I think he has to win more of it than he should.
Or they could just stay home.
They could stay home.
That's a way.
There's big counties up there that matter, apparently, where these small pockets of people can weigh heavily on the national stage.
To your point,
like the way Broward County
when it's that close, right? When it's that close, every vote counts.
Yeah, it's about who has the most roads, who has to victory, how many the combinations of states and such. But I think Trump's going to win in a landslide if I had to bet right now. And man, I specifically remember saying they should stop bullying the guy who's got a coin flip to be the most powerful man in the world in 6 or 9 months or whatever it was. It's like, what are y'all doing? Do you think you're really going to put him in prison so he can't be the president? Like, is that your goal here? Then let this wait till after the election. I never thought that any of this would happen. The legal stuff, troubles for him, not because I didn't think he was guilty of some shit or needed to go to court over his shit, but that it seemed against like democracy to stir that shit up in the year of his presidential bid when he's leading, not when he's leading. He's the most likely next president. And we're going to draw him up on these crimes that, it's not capital murder. It's not, it's not something that needs our attention. He's not a danger to society. it's crimes, it's felonies. But
in the case of
a
the
year.
business fraud stuff, yeah, election interference, business fraud stuff, that's I agree. It's not violent. The rapey stuff I like seeing tried.
Yeah, if it ever gets tried, you know, besides the sex assault with Carol Jean or whatever her name was, I believe.
Eugene Carroll.
Eugene Carroll. Okay. Like obviously that one did. Seems like a lot of them, there's a lot of he said, she said. And I never know what to think about that with a politician, especially somebody like Trump, who is so hated.
He said, she said.
I just remember the Jussie Smollett situation where you had that instance of here's someone who genuinely just went outside and made a conspiracy about the other team. And not only that, he race baited, he homo baited. Like he went full.
He's gay, Jussie Smollett.
Yeah. Oh yeah. These two MAGA hat wearing white guys had come up and this is Trump country. They're in Chicago.
You should have added the fucking mirrored sunglasses, even though it was nighttime.
Yeah, they had like put a noose around his neck and poured bleach on him, which I didn't understand the significance of pouring bleach on a black person at first. But then
I don't understand why that
you're bleaching them white. You're erasing their race. You're just like.
If that worked,
not literally, but it's symbolically.
I think that's like I think that's something they actually do in Korea or something. Don't they like bleach their skin?
It's also I think it's also like a what do you call it? Porn category. Like it's white dudes banging black chicks.
Oh,
well, that's a porn category.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot more innocent than
and the opposite.
I was picturing some dangerous BDSM with
no.
Which one's less racist?
Blacked or bleached?
No, like the man black or the woman black. Like I don't know which one's.
I mean, if nobody's being racist, neither of them are racist.
You never know. But in any case, like you had that example there with that guy who just was like, I'm gonna go make some shit up. I'm gonna go you know what? I'm gonna hire these two African motherfuckers I've been fucking, and I'm gonna have them help me make some shit up. And it was like, man, why are you just coming up with all these lies? And like when it gets found out, it looks so bad for the other team because the right can be like, you see, this is how they are. This is how they always are. This at a whole cloth. None of anything. It was all a performance, a fabrication. A studio audience should have been there to applaud. It doesn't look good when then you had no, really though. It's The Boy Who Cried Wolf. When you come back to him and you're like, no, for real, we have videos, we have P tapes. But forget about that Hunter Biden laptop thing. That was the other one when you had all those officials saying that it was Russian propaganda. It's like, man, we came back with receipts though. And y'all were lying, and it looks bad.
It does.
So then when you come back at me and you're like, I don't know, he raped a bunch of little kids. I'm like, fuck, man, you're like 0 for 2 on the big ones that actually went somewhere. Did he rape them kids? Because I hate that if he did it. You can't support. It's hard to laugh at the comedian who rapes people.
I'll keep going.